So Nintendo released a brand new music app at the end of October 2024. With it, you can stream and download music from their games on your phone, so you can listen to them while you're doing literally anything. It made listening to tunes from your favorite Nintendo games much easier than scrolling through YouTube to listen, which can also have its flaws. But this music app has a few issues. What are the issues? Broken or weird remasters of songs, bad extension looping, and on some occasions even missing songs. Now that sounds like an awful lot for there to be wrong with an app, especially if its only real end goal is to just play music. This is especially worse when you take into account that this is a paid app, as in order to access it, you must have an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. If you're paying for quality, you should expect it throughout the whole app, and for a lot of music, this seems to be the case. But then there's the ones that aren't so lucky. So like I said, there are some broken or weird remasters of songs on this app. While I haven't listened to every game on the app yet, there was one game in particular that I had noticed some glaring issues, and this game just so happened to be added fairly recently to this video's release. Surprise, surprise, if you know me, you know I love to talk about Luigi's Mansion. Now it should be noted that on this app, a lot of the time, they like to add a game and its subsequent remake or remaster on a newer console. With the exception of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker not having its HD counterpart in that list. More to the point, Luigi's Mansion was added alongside its 3DS remake, though the only 3DS exclusive tracks aren't even included in its playlist on the app, as that version was never actually added to the app. Instead, it redirects you to the GameCube playlist, and the tracks that are present include much more than you'd see in a YouTube playlist. I'll be comparing the soundtrack to the Luigi's Mansion YouTube collection created by the original Silva Gunner, not the Siva Gunner channel that turns video game music into memes. I'll start right off with the title theme, and right off the bat, the initial instrument hit doesn't quite sound like it does on GameCube. Some of the music in this playlist sounds really clean, especially ones that were exclusively audio from a cutscene, which would normally include sound effects, where it instead would only include the instruments. Though sometimes they don't sound like the correct instruments, or even sound effects that are present in some of the songs don't sound quite right. Sometimes it makes up for it by adding back in some background instruments, like the bass strings when you first meet Egad, making the tracks sound feel more full, whereas in Silva Gunner's playlist, those strings aren't included whatsoever. At times I've noted that some songs just sound like they were from the 3DS version. I say that because in that version, some of the music just sounded a bit off compared to the original GameCube game. If an instrument would normally hold on to notes, the 3DS version would sometimes pluck those notes, and in certain songs it sounds like an instrument is really struggling to hit the correct notes, making a crazy song like the one when you're catching regular ghosts sound even more like crackhead music. Now for some reason they completely omitted a portion of music, which would normally be a secret you'd have to find in-game. One of the composers for Luigi's Mansion is Kazumi Totaka, and often he'd leave his own little 19-note melody hidden in most of the games he worked on. In the game, you'd have to go into the training room, and before moving on to actually do the training, just wait for a couple minutes. This simple drum beat would eventually be interrupted by a little sound effect fill, and eventually after it's done this a couple times, you'll break down into a remix of that beat with more instruments, before Totaka's song would come at you by surprise. But on the Nintendo Music app, the time it takes for the remix to start is shortened severely, and the track fades out even before you could hear Totaka's song. Talk about a buzzkill. Now that's one thing, but how about an overall song really not sounding right? Throughout the game, Egad will call you, and while talking to him through your Game Boy Horror, you'll hear a more 8-bit sounding song. Now what the Nintendo Music app version of the song does, is the backing beat, which is supposed to be 8-bit drums, instead sounds more like an arcade game. And not only that, it for whatever reason completely loses a key change, which makes the song sound much more dull. I know it may sound like it's not a big issue, but it just doesn't make sense that while a lot of the other music on this app sounds fine, Luigi's Mansion for some dumb reason has this many mistakes. It wouldn't be as bad if only a couple of the songs had issues like this, but out of the 73 tracks included, I counted 19 songs with issues of varying degree, which is over a quarter of all the game's songs having errors. While there are quite a number of things wrong here, the ones that it gets right actually sound really nice. Compared to that Sylvagunner playlist, this Nintendo Music app version includes quite a few other things, including musical sound effects, like mirror warping, or when Luigi grabs a key. If I had to guess why there were so many issues, it may boil down to the fact that Luigi's Mansion's music is mostly sequenced. What this means is that, instead of the songs in the game being like MP3 files, where it's just playing back pre-recorded audio, they're more like an orchestra, playing the song live, with each musician given sheet music to play it. Essentially, there are tons of samples of instruments in the game's sound effect library, where it'll play from a set of instructions, the sheet music if you will, with the sound of the instrument samples. This was done for years with older consoles like the SNES and Nintendo 64, as it saved space over trying to stuff in pre-recorded full songs. Now what I assume is wrong is that for some reason, when they redid the music for the 3DS and the Nintendo Music app, their entire setup may have gotten some of the sounds wrong, or some other technical issue, to make something like the errors I've talked about happen. It isn't like this for all the games that have sequenced music on this app. Heck, even The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker uses sequenced music, and on this app it sounds fine. But it's not just Luigi's Mansion, as when you go to listen to Super Mario World's soundtrack, the first section of the world map music hits you with. So I mainly included this song because I had heard the song first with headphones on, and if you don't hear the song with headphones on, you probably can't hear what I'm hearing. So the song normally goes like this, right? Right? Or that's at least how it's supposed to sound. But when I'm hearing it, it kind of sounds like this. And I figured, okay, maybe that's just something wrong with the app's version of the song. No, it's like that in every version of Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. My life is a lie. So this app has a pretty cool feature. For some tracks, you can extend how long it plays, all the way up to an hour. It's not uncommon for people on YouTube to upload extended versions of songs, which can be good for you to listen to something while doing a chore, for example. With this feature, it makes it easy to extend how long you want a particular song to play. Though this can come with a slight drawback. See, the extensions work as loop points are set in place, so that after it runs through all the unique parts of a song once, it'll play back that exact same part. But if the loop points are set incorrectly, you may be able to notice it, which can take you out of the musical experience entirely, just because there's one small bit that sounds off, such as a snapping noise. I noticed this early on in the app's life, where in the soundtrack for Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, the first boss theme would have a little hiccup during the looping point. It may not sound that bad, but even this could audibly throw you off if you're not expecting it. And if you thought that was it, then good news. In the same playlist, if you extend the song titled In the Boss Room, during the first loop, there's a snap sound, and then it just vanishes for the remainder of your extended track. I don't know why this game in particular has a couple of these problems, and while some other games' song extensions may have little hiccups, These seem to be the only 2 tracks that I've listened to at this point that have had this bad of an issue. While I mentioned that in the Luigi's Mansion playlist, a song is shortened to completely remove the section involving the secret Totaka song, what's even more surprising is when songs go missing. Obviously, you'd think that having a complete list of music from a game would make sense. Otherwise, is it truly a complete soundtrack? Like myself, most people will get a little confused at first, as under a game's playlist, there's a top tracks and an alt tracks section. While you may think that this is the reason behind songs going missing, I'm here to tell you that it's much worse than that. According to online users and a Splatoon wiki page, it mentions that a couple months into the app's life, over 100 different tracks for Splatoon 2 were added, including 5 bonus tracks. It's these bonus tracks that are the ones in question. Some of these were from promotional material for the game, and while they existed on there for a time, they were hard to find, only available by searching the songs up themselves, before being completely removed 3 days after their first appearance.
3 days!
That is a ridiculously short time to have been added on there. Unless maybe they weren't meant to be on there for one reason or another. When things like this happen, confusion abounds, and this can make people question the company's motives or decision-making skills. This goes as well for the feature in the app that is supposed to show you who a song is created by, whereas pretty much all the time, it doesn't list who actually had a hand in making the song you're listening to. And if you can believe it, in the GameCube section, while Zelda the Wind Waker has apparently over an hour more worth of music compared to that of a full YouTube playlist, despite literally having pretty much the same songs included, minus maybe 1 track. The full soundtrack for Metroid Prime is actually over an hour shorter on the app. This, of course, results from having fewer tracks included on the app. While I don't know a whole lot about Metroid Prime, it seems to be that Nintendo was a lot more pick and choosy with Prime compared to their other library of games. Now all of this to say, what exactly? While I don't expect this video to help make any changes to Nintendo Music itself, do I think the app is worth it? Well, if you've already got a Nintendo Switch online subscription, then I don't see a reason not to, as it doesn't cost you any extra. It is a lot more convenient than having to find the songs online, download them, and put them on your phone. There are definitely some good video game tracks included on here, and more are planned to be added as time goes on. Just keep in mind that in some songs on the app, these issues will probably be present. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, share your thoughts in the comments below. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and peace.